What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video that I did where I talked about oversleeping and people not really valuing their time and not even being able to understand exactly how much their time is worth. I thought it was a pretty good video, and I thought that if you really took it to heart, that it would add a lot of value to your life. So make sure you go back and check that out. Make sure you also check out my last live stream where I chose violence. Yes, I did come in with the hoodie. There was no polo shirts. There was none of that. I wasn't there for any of that. It was all about getting straight to it, getting to the smoke. And then we had a good, decent conversation with one of my guests that came onto the show. So make sure you go back and check that out. Do me a favor also and make sure you hit the like button for this video for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps out the channel and I appreciate y'all. All right, so if you haven't already subscribed to the video, just doing a little bit of housekeeping, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and then also subscribe to my other channel, the Anton Daniels channel, and that's also in the description. All right, so this video, I did want to tackle and get into small businesses, small business ideas. I give a lot of insight and game into how to move around and how to tackle different things and how much money you need for this particular thing or that particular thing. But I want to start doing some deep dives into specifics for small businesses. I think that I've been relatively successful in my life with regard to small businesses. I've started a lot, I've failed a lot, I've seen a lot, and it spanned from a range of restaurants to online businesses to other types of brick and mortars. Now I kind of dip my feet into and fully embrace the idea of being a silent investor, in that I don't like my name being attached to certain things because the business should be able to survive on its own. And then also I can say a couple things here or there that can be controversial. So I don't want the business to have to go through the ebbs and flows of me, you know, being attached to me and my name and all of that. So I've chosen a different path with a lot of the different businesses that I buy into and that I fund, and you know, that I partner with certain people that come up with great ideas. But there are a lot of small businesses that you can get into for less than $5,000. And most of these businesses that I'm going to mention today, you can get into for significantly less. And some of them are requiring you to invest in yourself, and then others are for you to invest in different things, equipment, marketing tools, all those things that will help you be successful. But I just wanted to run some ideas by you as far as for you to consider, and whether or not you really want to dive into and do the work for these specific businesses, because and you can grow and scale them out to be something very phenomenal and significant. So the first business that I wanted to tackle is something that people are very much interested in, and it's the restaurant business. Everybody want to own their own restaurant. Everybody likes food. Everybody don't really even understand the dynamics of the restaurant business. So if you want to do a deep dive into that on my other channel, I went into several subjects and videos regarding small businesses, including location and what it was like to run mine and all of that other type of stuff. So go over to that channel and check that out. But the restaurant business, you can get into the restaurant business for under $5,000. Well, that sounds crazy, right? But what I'd like to do is approach it from a different perspective. And what I suggest people that are thinking about opening up a brick and mortar and going into the restaurant business is that you start with a pop-up. And the way you start with a pop-up is you don't have to own a location. You don't have to really already have your own employees, but you can negotiate with a restaurant owner, especially one that operates on off hours or they're only open certain days of the week. You can go in and say, okay, well, if you're open Monday or Wednesday through Sunday or something like that, and I have great marketing skills and I got a palette and I got a following and I want to dip my toes into and see if I wanted to get into the restaurant business, you can very much rent out that location on an off night or a specific time and then serve up whatever it is that you need using their kitchen, using their equipment, using their location to seat your guests. And it can be something that you can start to explore whether or not it tickles your fancy as to why you would want to get into that business. And you can do it for significantly less than $5,000. Obviously, you need to go in and negotiate the price with the restaurant owner, the brick and mortar location owner, to determine exactly what you want to pay. And then you have to do the math as far as determining what your food costs are going to be, as far as all of your materials. And you're going to have to come up with staff. So that can be temporary or whatever like that, but you don't have the long-term requirements and you're not locked into something that you can't get out of with a huge investment. You can very much figure out whether or not the restaurant business is for you and start up your own location based off of the results that you get from this pop-up and doing pop-ups for a significant amount of time. As a matter of fact, some of my friends and some of the best fleshed out concepts and ideas came from pop-up restaurants, and they did it for over a year, and then they fleshed it out. They figured out their whole business plan and put it together, and then eventually they were able to secure investors like me and micro investors and be able to figure out what the funding is in order to ultimately open up their own brick and mortar location because they decided to do that. So you can very much get into the restaurant business for under $5,000. The next idea is being a web designer and developer. A web designer and developer, freelance. Now, this idea also extends to people that already have the skill. If you're in the digital space, if you are good with front-end development, back-end development, any of that. And I think that the majority of this cost comes from equipment and investing in yourself. I was self-taught, and then I went and got my software engineering and webmaster, web developer, all of the certificates and things like that. But obviously, it launched a career for me that was very, very lucrative, and I'm so appreciative of all of the people that played a role in seeing my value and my potential. But it takes a lot of hard work. It takes some decent amount of marketing. You're going to have to build up a portfolio and do some things for free. But all of the costs associated with building up your skills and the software and the hardware that you need can very much be written off as a business expense. And ultimately, it can be really, really lucrative. And you can parlay that into consulting or deciding that you want to go into that full time. So it is a highly paid field. And if you want to and have the time and the patience and the wherewithal to learn the skill of being a web developer, I think that it can be a very, very, very good small business turned lifetime career that can net some really, really good money for you. Okay, think about that. The third thing is, and I hear a lot of people talk about this, and I really take this into consideration when I'm looking at the real estate market today and how everything is going, is property management. I am never going to show up at any of my real estate properties and do any of the work. It's just not happening. I'm always looking for services and ways in which I can automate things to make it easier for me to not only collect the rent and be able to survey and see how things are going. I've had some really great tenants. I've never had any problem in a real estate aspect of my life. However, I am always looking to automate and make sure that things are going a lot more smoothly, and things do break down. There is maintenance issues. There are things that need to be done. But property management is a big thing right now, and that it doesn't take a lot. If you're good with your hands, if you are very much a person that's paying attention to detail, if you're on time, if you're prompt, if you have a great relationship with real estate people, if you're able to market yourself effectively, I think that it can be a very lucrative field. The fourth small business idea that I like is audio and video editor. Somebody that, because we all know people that are into photography, right? We always see people shooting videos and things like that. But what about these YouTubers? You need to reach out to them. You need to tap into them. You need to send them DMs. You need to reach out to anybody that's a content creator, not just rappers, not just models or all of this other type of stuff. If you are good with videography, and again, this is a small investment, it can be used with the computers that you already have and things like that. But software is really just the software and learning the skills and getting your feet wet. You might even have to start doing a deep dive into it for free, adding value and adding content first, and then that's how you build up your clientele. That's a whole nother conversation. Maybe I'll do a masterclass on how to acquire clients and things like that. But videography, audio and video editing is a booming field for small business owners that require a minimal amount of investment. Also, e-commerce and craftsmen. If you make things, if you're good with your hands, woodwork, finding clients is very easy when you learn the marketing skills and how to sell and market yourself online. Creating value for people by being highly desirable, not making a lot of things, but being able to understand exactly how you can sell and what your stuff costs. And you understand e-commerce, start yourself a Shopify site or a vlog, and then people find you based off of the content and the value that you add, and do-it-yourself videos, and all those different ways of marketing yourself. E-commerce combined with being a craftsman is a phenomenal way to get into small business. People that have an extra bedroom or an extra house, consider becoming an Airbnb host. I figured out that that's not necessarily for me, but people want to get into the Airbnb game as far as making extra money. That is very much a small business idea. And then last but not least, I like the idea of being a virtual personal assistant. I regularly go through, and it's based off of their availability or they get a new job or anything like that, but I regularly go through assistants and people that work for me that tackle certain things that I can't handle or I'm not able to do at certain times. I think that being a virtual personal assistant, especially for people that value their time and understand the value of their time, that can be a very good small business idea, especially for people that are working from home, people that have extra time on their hands. If you have a kid and you can't go to work right now, or you're out of work, being a virtual personal assistant is, I think, a really good idea. And so the biggest thing is identifying your idea, starting your side business or hobby, because a lot of these small business ideas start as a hobby or a side business. You like making videos, and then all of a sudden you start creating content. Next thing you know, you're a YouTuber. So starting that side business or hobby, getting the software or the equipment that you need, putting together a business plan, putting together your LLC, or establishing whether or not you're a sole proprietor. And the difference between the two is the liability. An LLC is very much its own entity, or a company in itself is its own entity, whereas even though you're your own person, you're probably the only person that's conducting business within the business. A sole proprietorship is basically just using your social security number. You are the business. All right. So again, a whole nother video, but take these steps into consideration. Getting your tax ID. Once you get your LLC and you establish within a state, whatever state that you do business in, all you got to do is go over to the IRS site, get an EIN, which is basically the social security number, or a tax ID, the social security number for your business. All right. That's basically all it is. Get a bank account. After that, designate a work area. So make sure you have a space that you're able to work in effectively. Don't just be messy, but get you a decent work area. It could be in your basement. And then get a marketing plan. Once you establish or evaluate the ways in which you're going to get the word out to people that you are who you are, continue to refine that. Continue to refine the people that you're targeting. And then grind. It's very much that simple. Small businesses, it requires a level of business acumen, but it also very much requires people to dedicate themselves to the grind. It's hard work. There is very few businesses, if any, that you can just automate and it just regularly makes you money without you ever having to do anything. So if you're looking to get started and you're looking to start a small business, it doesn't take a lot of capital. It doesn't take a whole lot of anything outside of hard work, being dedicated to figuring out exactly what it is that you want to do. And then last but not least, grind. Put in the effort. All right. So hopefully you found this video very enlightening. It helps you in some way, or it sparked the idea, or maybe it even helps you to realize that it's just not for you when you're just the person that need to go to work every day. Because there's nothing wrong with that either. And I know people that's getting it like that. All right. So I appreciate you. I rock with you. Make sure you check out my live stream that's coming up this Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Subscribe to the channel. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. And I appreciate y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.